Last week on the Poisonrana Patreon, we talked all about the best WWE matches of CM Punk in a brand new episode of Best Match Ever. He hits a sit-out pile driver. I remember screaming when I watched this the first time. This is a banned move in WWE.
Even Michael Cole on commentary, like, whoa, what's he doing?
Punk did tweet out that he got in trouble, like, took some shit, but he's like, they're a load of crybabies. But I think it goes to show, like, we see pile drivers on, like, AEW or the Indies all the time, but when it's, like, protected or banned, it gave this so much impact.
It got a shockwave,
Like, whoa.
Get this show plus NXT retro reviews, wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more over at patreon.com/poisonrana. And it's only $5, so what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Poisonrana.
Hello. Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you are listening to. And of course,
we are live on youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod.
Yes, it's a Sunday afternoon. It's the Frog's Day. We are here to chat about everything going on in the world of wrestling. And it's a busy day of podcasting for us.
It is a very busy day. We've got, it is currently, the 7th of January. And we've got to kind of put behind us 2023.
That's right.
And there's a couple of ways we can do that. Firstly, we can talk about the best matches that happened in 2023, which we'll be doing right after our usual Poisonrana show. And then we can purge. We can talk about all the best stuff that's happened in the year, but most importantly, the worst stuff that happened in the year.
Yeah, some housekeeping here. So today's episode you're listening to right now on this Poisonrana feed. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that download. All the little things help us so much. Thank you, everyone, for a great year of listening and supporting and everything. We can't do it without you guys. But today we're going to chat a little bit about what's going on this week, the first week of Dynamite, some WWE, the New Year's week. What did they do? The New Year's knockout week?
New Year's, what did we have? We had day one. We had New Year's Evil and New Year's Revolution.
Yeah. We're going to chat a little bit about that. Obviously, we did our review of New Year's Evil, so check that out on the post feed. But then after talking about some Wrestle Kingdom 18, we're gonna switch things over and we're gonna do a best match ever 2023 part 1 here live on this show. So we put it to you, our Poison pals, our wrestling friends, to help us make a top 10 list of the matches of 2023. And you all sent them in. Davie, you put them through like a...
Well, we do BD maths here.
Yeah,
so it's you give us your top 10, and then it's 10 points for your number 1 pick, it's 1 point for your number 10 pick, and so on and so on. And then we give our top 10, and because we're the hosts, our points are worth double.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we're special, right? Yeah.
So you guys helped vote, and we made a top 10 list. And today on the part 1 of the show, we'll go through 10 to 6 of the 5 best matches of 2023. We're going to go through, review, right, and have a ton of fun looking at 2023. But that's not all. So that's all on this show. So, can't wait to talk all about these things. But later tonight, or by the time you're listening to this, maybe it's already out. But we will be joining John and Way at Post Wrestling for the best and worst of show for 2023. So later tonight, all patrons, meaning Post and Poisonrana patrons, will be invited to join us live on a very special stream where we will be recording the show. But by the time you're listening to this, possibly the show will be available for everyone on the Post Wrestling feed. So yes, the best and worst of. What will we be chatting about? Who knows?
21 categories we'll be going through. You can go on forum.postwrestling.com to see what the categories are. And I implore you to join in live, because you never know what gets edited out of these shows when Braden Herrington joins John
right.
Way.
I got a hot mic. All your daughters aren't safe. That could mean a lot, and someone didn't understand what I mean. But yeah, hot mic. Get the unedited version live tonight as we chat with John Away, and that's always a ton of fun. Can't wait to go through that. So join us later tonight if you patrons, and then of course if you're not, hey, you get it on podcast form tomorrow, Monday. So really excited about that. Really excited about we also have part 2 of our best match ever. What, next week?
Next week will be on our Patreon.
Yes. So lots and lots of shows. Our Patreon is still going. We did a best match ever CM Punk in WWE. We looked at the best of him. This week, I think we're doing a best match ever Von Erichs.
Yes, a whole Von Erich retrospective show. We'll be looking at Dark Side of the Ring, talking about the Iron Claw, and talking about a few matches as well. Yeah,
we're going to chat all about the curse of the Von Erichs and the Iron Claw and all that. So that's going to be a ton of fun as well. Over on our Patreon, we have just put out our NXT Arrival review. We finally did a Was Next. All these years catching up. Finally arrived.
4 years?
Yeah. We were joined by our Was experts, Chris Price and Anne-Marie, to chat all about NXT Arrival, the first network special. So that was a ton of fun. I just put that out today on the
really fun show.
Yeah. So look forward to hearing some thoughts on that one. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Lots of shows.
We've also got a Rumble coming up end of the month. So firstly, we are going to be throwing up a poll to do a reviews from the 6, a classic Royal Rumble event. I would love you to throw in some suggestions. We have talked about some Royal Rumbles before. I think we've looked at 2000. I know we've looked at.
Yeah, last year we've
looked at a few. So throw us some suggestions of what Rumbles you'd like to us to do, and we'll put a poll up. But also, Royal Rumble means we are going to be hosting another watch party. And oh boy, these tickets are selling fast.
Yes. Anyone in the Toronto area, we run the 6. Yes, I've been getting your messages. Hey, is this you? The wrestling club night? No, it is not. Yes, it's gimmick infringement. No, it is not us. However, the next night we are doing our watch party. So you can still see us in the 6. And I know a lot of you will be there in spirit. But Gabby's, King Street West, Toronto, Saturday the 27th. We will be hosting our Rumble watch party at Gabby's. And boy, it's going to be fun because we got Rumble games. Rumble brings the non-fans out because there's gambling involved and Rumble pools and things like that run wild. So definitely looking forward to that. I think it's going to get a little rowdy, and we're going to have the bar completely full for this one.
Yeah, we're already about a third full already, and we only just put these tickets on sale. They're moving really quickly, but we do want to give our listeners a little benefit for coming. So go to poisonrana.ca. You'll see the link to our Eventbrite, and use the promo code BDE Friends, all one word, all capital letters, and that will get you 50% off your ticket. There's only a limited amount of these, so don't wait too long. If you are in the Toronto area and want to come by January 27th, BDE Friends, apply that promo code and you'll get 50% off your ticket. And we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, and we have seen lots of you there. We have our regulars, our BDE listeners out there. Shout out Rob, Shaft. We got all the regulars who show up to these things, and it's a ton of fun. We treat our listeners and our patrons specifically. We give them the booth.
They get the booth treatment.
We give them. We're feeding them shots all night.
We have a lot of people that come to this who don't have a clue who we are. And we're really trying to drum it home. It's like, hey, we're Poisonrana. Yeah. We do this. Yeah. We do this. So I think people have started to cotton on. I'm noticing a few names returning to these events, but not necessarily listeners of ours. So we'd love to see some more listeners.
Yeah, we have a lot of friends who are listeners who turn into listeners. Some people who listen and then started coming to our shows and vice versa. So it's a whole lot of fun doing these things. We've done some of these events and meetups and stuff, but bringing like a watch party, you never know who's gonna like kind of show up, and new listeners and new wrestling friends, and it's a whole fun thing. So we like to take over our city.
It's just like, the countdowns, the surprise entrances, or in recent years, it's sorry, whose music's that? It's Dana Brooke. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I wish Dana Brooke.
Oh no, she's not
going to show up in the Rumble.
She might.
Yeah.
She might. Women need to pad it out usually.
I did find my Dana Brooke shirt though.
Yeah,
I have found it.
Nice.
So maybe one day I'll
the
wear
nice 3/4 length.
maybe I'll
baseball
wear
tee,
it
right?
to the Rumble.
Yeah.
She'll show up.
Yeah, we should put in an order at chopped-tees.com
Yes.
to get some merch to wear to the Rumble.
Yes, chop-tees.com. We have our own Poisonrana merch. Go check it out. We got shirts and merch for Shot in the Dark, for What Up Doe, for our own show. Go check it out. And there's always new stuff being added. And Dickie is just putting in the work on this website. And I know the website itself is going to have even more stuff in this new year. So I'm definitely very excited to see what we do with that. But you can buy your official Poisonrana stuff over at chop-tees.com.
Absolutely. Hello, Alex in the YouTube chat, who asks, will you guys be doing a Mania weekend show? I keep hearing about your events in Toronto, and I want to go to one in Philly.
Oh,
all I'll say is watch this space. There's a lot coming up this year. We do want to try and do something. Philly weekend. It is going to be a packed weekend. We've got like NXT in the afternoon and all that. But yeah, we'll be letting you know. We definitely will plan something to try and meet up with listeners, whether it be like just an informal hangout or what. We'll make it our best to see you guys. And they have just announced Money in the Bank weekend in the 6. So again, watch this space.
Yes, we've gotten a lot of people messaging about Philly. I think we want to do just more of like a meetup, hangout before events and stuff. I'm watching the whole indie, the like GCW shows being announced, and I'm not as excited for a lot of the big indie stars are not on the indies anymore, right? So they're kind of elsewhere, and the bigger shows are the WWE shows and everything. So it's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird how like my first WrestleMania weekend was WrestleMania 30, and Supercard of Honor was like the hot show to go to. WrestleCon as well, that kind of thing. And then we had the whole like takeover era where people would always go, takeover was better than the main pay-per-view and all that. And now it's kind of come around where WrestleMania is the big show again. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it always used to be like, I'm going to WrestleMania, but I'm here to go to, spring break and all that. It's kind of, I feel it's flipped on its head again. And
I wouldn't mind going to, again, closer to, they're obviously going to announce some crazy things, but I want them to go balls to the wall. I want all these released wrestlers to start announcing things. I want like Rick Boogs versus Jun Kasai. You know what I mean?
Rick Boogs is done.
He's done with wrestling?
Did you not hear? Yeah.
Oh, what did he say?
He said, I'm done with wrestling.
Maybe he'll go into music. Okay. How about a Walk with Elias versus Nick Gage?
Elijah, isn't it?
Elijah. Sorry.
Who was his other?
Elias.
He was Elias and...
The Drifter?
No, what was his brother's name?
Elijah. No, Elias. No.
No, it was Elias, and then he had his brother without the beard.
You're asking the wrong
guy. I can't remember.
Yeah. I want the chairman, Sean Spears versus La Parka. I want that booked for my indie weekend. I am
Ezekiel.
That's it, right? Yeah. I'd like to go to the DDT show so far, but I know a few of us are watching for Kaiju Big Battle. It hasn't been announced, and it's possibly not going to happen. But it's something I regret not going to before, and now I'm like, that seems like something I want to do. But DDT, I have my eye on. But yeah, Philly people, we will be doing something, and I guess we can somewhat mention Toronto. Announcement, like you said, for Money in the Bank this June. Last June, we had the Forbidden Door open in the 6. We had we had a whole ton of wrestling fans come over and do wrestling things, and this year it's going to be no different. This time, WWE taking over with a SmackDown,
Money in the Bank, and Heatwave.
NXT Heatwave, yeah.
I feel Money in the Bank is the last big one I haven't been to. I've done a Rumble, a Survivor Series, a Mania, and
is it a big one now?
Slam.
I guess, yeah.
I feel like Money in the Bank kind of replaced Survivor Series.
Sure.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, not even that, but NXT coming here as well, and that's
I haven't seen an NXT show live for years now at this point, since pre-pandemic. So yeah, looking forward to go to that too.
It's tough though, because when we had Forbidden Door, it was like, okay, what do we call our event? Forbidden Pour. Okay, yeah, it's at a bar. Cool. This one's a lot harder. I've been thinking all week, and I can't come up with a single.
The best I can come up with so far is Froggy in the Bank.
Oh, that's no. I'm thinking like Chummy in the Six or something like that. Like
Chubby in the Six?
Chubby in the Six, Chummy in the Bank, like something, a meetup of wrestling fans. What would you call it? Because little
Chummy, money.
Chummy,
Okay.
right? Yeah, it's not good. None of them are good.
No.
Something in the dot, something in the, because funny enough, like since the ACC turned into the Scotiabank Arena, certain people do call it the bank.
Yeah.
So it legit is Money in the Bank in the bank.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
Thinking Money in the Tank, the drunk tank.
Yeah.
Thing maybe.
Shmoney in the, it's maybe something like, yeah, I don't know. This one's hard. So please, punny people out there.
Yeah, we're trying to get punny in the bank here.
Yeah, we can't think of anything good and slick and sly, but I'm sure we'll be seeing some familiar faces come June in Toronto. So can't wait for that as well. Definitely excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it is going to be a slightly shorter Poisonrana today. We're going to whiz through it because we are doing our best match ever 2023. I almost said 2013 there.
Nice.
So yeah, we had Wrestle Kingdom this week.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I know you were saying like, hey, this card doesn't look like as interesting as some of the last years, and totally agree. I felt like there was some different pieces of the puzzle that just was head scratching as why they would go that route. But at the end of the day, I was actually working a night shift. So I had it on kind of while I was working. And then of course, as like the big main matches are about to kick off is like when I had to do stuff. And then like,
right.
I did. So then I come home and I'm tired. I'm like, well, I watched fucking some of these matches. I guess I'll watch like the rest of it. So I did watch the rest of it, and it was an okay show. There was some hit and misses, but some pluses that come off the top of my head was I groaned when Shingo was announced with a singles match against Tama Tonga, but I thought Tama Tonga showed up.
I really enjoyed that match. Yeah. I thought Tama Tonga's like counters in this match were excellent. Yeah. There was a certain, what was it, made in Japan into the stun gun, which was so smooth. Tama Tonga announcing that he's kind of done with New Japan at the end of this month. He
finally, years of watching him, he finally has a match. I went, yo, hold on a second. And then he's like, yeah, I'm done.
Is he someone we could be talking about on Tuesdays? Maybe.
Yeah, possibly. It does
see him maybe more Fed bound than AEW.
Me too.
Like certainly I think like obviously he's been doing his singles run for the last year or so, but bringing in like Guerrillas of Destiny perhaps would really kind of shake up that tag division on the main roster, I think. But yeah, no, I thought he really showed up. Obviously, Shingo's still one of the best wrestlers in the world. Hard to have a bad match against Shingo, but it wasn't all him. And Tama Tonga definitely came and like I was like, okay, we're cooking now. I thoroughly enjoyed that match.
Yeah, it was a bit of a like shocker. I was like, man, he was bringing it for sure. And I've not been a huge fan of his work in ring. I've been a fan of all the other stuff outside the ring and Bullet Club and this and that, but ring wise, I was like very impressed. And Shingo, I don't understand how he's not one of the main focuses of this company. I still don't after watching this match. Maybe they will down the line, but it's just so bizarre. He's always used as like a stepping stone for other people.
The utility player.
Yeah. Some other things I watched the whole show, but Yuya Uemura versus Yota Tsuji.
Uemura,
yeah, Uemura. Sorry, that match was awesome.
That was great. I mean, they said what this was like their 56th match against each other or something along those lines. Obviously, growing up as young lions, they had the whole thing. Weren't these the ones in the G1 who had like the C block where they had the young lions match every night, and kind of positioning these guys? Look, this is their singles match at Wrestle Kingdom. Expect this to be like a headlining match down the line.
One day,
I was kind of surprised with the result. I kind of figured like Tsuji is the one who would be getting like the big push moving forwards, but hell of a match.
Yeah, I think Tsuji will be one of their key players for sure. He's got the look more than a lot of the other ones at the moment.
He's a bit more complete right now. I feel.
Yeah. Some other things I'm not gonna lie. As soon as Evil came out, I did not watch that match, but I did like how Shooter showed up on a motorcycle. In his thing. Other things I did like from this show, Despy and Takahashi, they fought so many times. It was still good, but I wouldn't say it got to the level of some of their other ones in the past. But I've watched them fight so many times.
Is this finally Hiromu's graduation?
You say that every year.
Like, Yeah, we do say that every year. Naito saying kind of whether Hiromu is, because, they do the anniversary show junior heavyweight against the heavyweight champion. And Naito kind of saying whether he's champion or not, he'd like to face Hiromu down the line. So I hope the pieces are kind of aligning now, and Hiromu can graduate, and then need to freshen up this junior heavyweight division, like whether that's bringing in like a Leo Rush, hopefully for like a long period of time. We know what Leo Rush is like, but insert some new people in that scene. But again, good match. I've seen it.
Yeah, like Hiromu should be one of the key players in New Japan, full stops, as should, like I said, Shingo. Despy could be the main junior heavyweight guy, but they've done this back and forth with these two so many times. It's kind of like, what else do you have there? And when it comes to juniors, like they could easily pluck different people. I mean, Ali is someone who would fit just right in there. Again, AEW is a little crowded. He could be making a name for himself over there. That's someone I would like to see. But what else was on this show?
I really enjoyed Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. Obviously, this is a match we've seen in person live before. These two have tied up quite MSG.
Oh, right. Okay.
These two have tied up quite a lot. But, I know there's a million titles in this company, but I kind of like the
rolling
TV
tray
title because it's like just 15 minutes. So you've got a sprint. So it allows for a slightly different kind of match. I think at this point in Tanahashi's career, it's a good thing. Hey, you get the like 15-minute max matches now, and eventually can put someone over. I hope this means Zach can move more into the like world title picture.
Yeah, he's another one that's like, man, he's like killing it every time you watch him, and he's not one of the main focuses there. It's kind of bizarre, but yeah, that was pretty entertaining. The president putting himself over. Yeah, of course.
Zach trying to be Prime Minister.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, no, I do find that funny. First move as president is I win the title.
The TV dinner tray championship. But yeah.
I mean, the actual title has grown on me. The look of it.
The look of it?
Yeah, it's grown on me a bit.
I don't know about that. But yeah, that one was pretty funny. Other things that stood out, there was Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley. Oh, and David Finlay.
Yeah.
That's legit how the match was as well. The best parts were all the times they were fighting, and then he's like, oh, and I'm in this match. And you're like, oh, yeah.
This is kind of exactly what I thought this match would be.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed it. I expected Finlay to win. I expected Finlay to win in the way he won, with kind of stealing the pin. But it was still a really good match. And I think there is something with the three-way where you get that kind of like non-stop. Like there's always something going on because someone can sit out for a bit, usually Finlay.
Yeah.
And then, but no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like the War Dogs getting involved with that. Alex Coughlin, like going through the middle of the table.
But through the table?
But through the table.
Yeah, that was a great image.
And was pretty awesome to see this Japan crowd singing
Wild? No,
Elevated.
Sorry. Oh, right.
Because obviously he's been a heel for a long time in this company. You had the whole clap crowd like thing.
Quiet,
I think a great moment was at Wembley, like seeing everyone sing along, realizing because that all-in show, you imagine a lot of people there were just, oh, wrestling's in town and Chris Jericho's on it and that kind of thing. But everyone seemed to know who Ospreay was and was singing along. But hearing a Japanese crowd singing the song, I thought was really cool. And he looked pretty emotional about it as well.
He had a cool entrance. He had Assassin's Creed, like
little top hat.
Yeah. I don't know what the thing, like 2 years in a row. Well, more than that. Like last year, Kenny with the Final Fantasy legit official crossover, and then this year Assassin's Creed officially like joining in there. So they had some links to these.
I mean, Ospreay, his whole gimmick is Assassin's Creed. Blade and Aerial Assassin, all that.
I'm not really into the gaming stuff, but I can appreciate when they bring this into their
Assassin's Creed's a game I actually have played.
Sure,
it's pretty fun.
Like again, the entrances in New Japan definitely were pretty cool. But yeah, this match was good. Moxley and Ospreay like just were like killing each other, and Finlay just doesn't have the sauce yet. He's just some guy, really. He's just so plain Jane. It to me, it's like I'm watching Jay White, but it's not Jay White.
He's not a bad wrestler, but just they're really trying. And maybe, you you push it enough. I think Jay White did kind of elevate after a while, but
yeah, after a while. The funniest thing was after this. I mean, well, during the show, Dolph Ziggler and his brother, of course. You got to bring your brother.
Bring your brother to work day.
Yeah. His parents were like, you got to bring your brother, though. And he's like, all right. Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth shows up. He sits in the front row, dressed to the nines. And then after that Finley match, Finley walks over to him and holds up this new, global heavyweight title.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck you, Dolph Ziggler. And like gets in his face and they shove each other, which leads to like an altercation backstage later in the night. The judge dive recreation, if you've seen that. I just found it funny that like Nick Nemeth is just sitting there and he's probably like, wait, why are you coming over to me? I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to fucking fight all these other people.
It was kind of weird because they showed up during the tag match.
Yeah.
So they kind of implied that these two are looking at the tag division.
Yeah, Ryan Nemeth in New Japan.
And then did you see his backstage thing where he's like, really sorry, I just came to as a fan to enjoy the show. You came like 4 matches late then.
Yeah. He was in Roppongi earlier, probably. But yeah, so
yeah, as a first match, I imagine that would be in the US.
Well, they
I
have
kind of feel that, and the Matt Riddle Tanahashi match is going to be US bound.
right. Okay, so yeah, a lot to unpack there. So first of all, Dolph Ziggler making moves post WWE. He's not shown up in AEW yet, but now he's shown up in New Japan. He's obviously setting up for that match with Finley. They've announced the Battle in the Valley show, which is like next week in San Jose, and like it's a stacked card, but Nemeth is not on it. I mean, I'm sure he'll show up, but it's actually Finley versus TJP, which is happening. So I mean,
the Wagwan, no, what was he called?
Oh
Aswang,
man, yeah,
the dead guy.
Yeah,
cool new look.
Yeah,
something different.
Wearing a mask. But yeah, I see him slotting in there, taking that title from Finley.
You know what? I am actually really looking forward to seeing what Nick Nemeth does outside of WWE. I have been a fan of his wrestling. I think over the years, it just got like, we gave up on the starts and stops of his career. We'd seen it all before. We stopped kind of believing in him, but I've always thought he's a great performer, great wrestler. And I'd love to see him work with some different kind of styles. And I'm sure he wants to prove himself as well. He's someone who's always worked with a chip on his shoulder and has gone out and tried to like do the most he can with what he's given. So I think, New Japan setting, I'm kind of excited to see what he does.
Yeah, it was like, oh, he's here? Okay, wait a second. Like, that could be a little different than what I expected. So already, I think a proper move in the first moves. I'm sure he's doing tons of indie dates and stuff going forward, but this is a pretty big move. If it's not AEW, it's New Japan. They're still the number 3, I'd say, over lots of other places. So there's a few. I wouldn't say Nick Nemeth versus David Finley is the bingo card match I'm excited for, but him versus, I'm sure he showed up being like, hey, Okada, I want to fight you. And then Finley gets in his face. It's like, wait a second. Yeah. But like, there's all these other wrestlers that he could fight. I mean, a Hiromu versus Nick Nemeth, a Shingo versus Nemeth, Okada, like I said, Naito. There's a few. But yeah, it seems like maybe they've got this whole like North American roster kind of thing. A bunch of white guys that they know they'll put on the American shows. And it is interesting watching a Tokyo Dome Wrestle Kingdom. There was a whole ton of white guys on this show. I was like, wow, they've just taken over.
It kind of has been like
it's always
for
like
a
that
long time. You like when you had the Elite and Skull and Osprey,
all
and
these
all them.
gaijins. All these gaijins. But Finley versus Nemeth. Nemeth, do you see him showing up in AEW anytime soon? If he's showing up here?
I'd kind of like to see him do what he's doing right now and kind of just, I could see him doing Bloodsport, maybe a weekend. I could see that being something he wants to do because he does have that like amateur wrestling background.
Did you see his video? He posted, that's the new thing, the new wave of released wrestlers.
Right.
Get a videographer, do a whole promo. I didn't really like Elias's.
Okay.
With the dead guy. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Where he was like dragging out someone. It looked like he got like me or you to do it. Whereas like some of the other people like paid someone like Ali's was really good, right? Like that gimmick. But this one felt like it was going for the like Evil Dead Ash versus whatever Tarantino kind of thing. And there was little like references, like he pulls out the rubber chicken, the Cody Rhodes thing.
Okay.
What else did he pull out? He pulled out something else in it that I like.
This is
Dolph's.
Nick,
Yeah. And then he puts the glasses on, but he looks like Kurt Russell. I always thought that. Yeah.
No, I'd like there's matches I'd like to see him have with people in AEW. I don't know if I necessarily need to see him as a full-time character there.
Yeah.
Just because it's such a bloated roster right now, and we will get to AEW in a bit, but something I liked about this week is it kind of seemed focused. It's like, all right, new year, like let's try and push these younger stars and like it's going to take time, but like let's have the focus on a Swerve and a Hangman and that kind of thing, and not maybe like bog it down with like Adolf and other ex-WWE guys.
Yeah.
But sure, there's definitely matches I'd like to see there. I'd love to see
The Danielson.
when he's healthy. I'd love to see Kenny Ziggler, obviously. Wow. Like there's certain things there. I don't know if I necessarily need him as a week-to-week character. But for the first, there's no need to sign anywhere until after Mania. Because Mania weekend, there's going to be all these shows going on. All the like stories and promotions are like heavily booked right now until that time anyway. So like have some fun, and then maybe in the summer sign.
So maybe we'll see Ziggler at a Philly GCW show.
Yeah,
possibly. Right?
Exactly.
There's some stuff. Gringo versus Nick Nemeth.
Sure.
I would like to see that a lot. Actually.
Come on, Lucha.
I just can't wait to hear the Japanese commentary go zigzag. If he calls it that, I never really understood why he did call it that. But
that's good Ziggler, I think.
And then some of the other stuff on the show, we had Kazuchika Okada taking on Bryan Danielson, the rematch.
Yeah, this was match of the night for me.
Easily. Match of the year.
Yeah, phenomenal match. Kind of was like, man, I wish I kind of did that in Scotiabank, but also I kind of like the match in Toronto wasn't bad, but I think all of us were like, oh, I was expecting a bit more. We were also on a bit of a come down after Kenny Ospreay, but then the story coming out of it, Danielson tapping him out with a broken arm. You're then playing up with the broken eye thing from the tag match on Dynamite. All the story leading into it made this what it was as well. And Okada, I've gone a little colder on the last couple of years because like he's got his formula and they're often like long matches and nothing really happens at the beginning, but then you forget all about it because the final 10-minute stretch is amazing. This wasn't that. I thought this was just so like packed, and I was like hanging on to every single move they were doing. Some of the submissions, like Danielson doing the like double arm bend back thing,
how he beat him,
saying I'm gonna snap your arm, all that kind of stuff added to it. I thought this was excellent, and the way they ended with both bowing at each other, it was like, hey, we can leave this here if we want and we're happy, but it's one apiece, and we can always do that rubber match at WrestleMania down the line.
One day we'll get it one day. I really enjoyed this match. It was a classic, already established. Like this will be one people will go back and watch and talk about, and you could just see like the joy in this man making his entrance. Obviously he didn't get the final countdown, but his theme is good too, and like him coming out, the smile, pyro the Titantron, he just looked like final boss Bryan with the eye patch and everything. But then like the match itself, they were killing each other, hurting each other. It was so like entertaining. But then when he finally did the yes chants in the Tokyo Dome, you could see he had his eyes closed and he's just smiling. And like, again, all these Japanese fans going, yes, yes. And this is what he's been like dreaming about since it's like 20 years ago.
He only pulls out for like special moments now, isn't it? The yes.
Like the commentary, I was watching the English feed for this. They were like, hey, this guy was like in New Japan, the dojo all the years ago. And like,
they said,
and it's like, look, all these years later, 20 years later, he's now like in a marquee, like one of the headlining matches of this thing. And like, that was special to him, and kind of following not really his social media, because he's not too like into that, but all these other people who were there, like your Big Fat Massa or your Wyoming, like all the local Japanese, he was doing the rounds. He was like, I need to go here. I need to go here. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he signed some things at the one store. Like, he just looked like he did everything he wanted to do. And like, as a fan of this guy, you're like, man, good for you. Like, you got to do it. But the match fucking banged. And you're right. Like, would I want to watch it again? You don't really need it. You did it. But at the same time, one day
you can do it. Like, I mean, I know this is his last full-time year as a wrestler, but it's something you can let breathe now. And it's always in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Whatever promotion both are in at some point, it's always something you can go, hey, we need to settle this.
It was really good. And I mean, like, I'm imagining Okada signs with New Japan and stays there. He's saying in interviews around this show that like, oh yeah, I got another like 10 years of like good Okada left. Meaning I'm not retiring in 10 years, but like,
do you need to waste that in New Japan?
Yeah. So
With
maybe
Sanada and Naito
5,
and Evil.
3 more years and then go somewhere else is probably what he means. Going back to TNA. He is going back to TNA like in 2 weeks or something, but
also, you mentioned commentary. I just want to shout out Walker Stewart, who it's the first time I've really listened to him.
Yeah.
Apparently he's like 22 or something
Holy
like that.
shit.
He's crazy young. I thought he did a really good job on this show. And
they had a lot of issues, I know, because I was watching, shout out Dickie, he was streaming and stuff, and I know the US English feed was like struggling when it was live. I think they may have fixed it for the recast.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice on
apparently it was very bad where it was like out of sync and all that stuff, which would I would not be able to watch that. So but after watching kind of later on the replay, he sounded really good.
It was good. His voice, I kept on thinking it was Don Callis talking.
Yeah,
had a similar kind of tone.
At first I was like, wait, is this Don Callis? Why is he
that's
here?
why I was surprised when I found out how young he was, because I enjoyed his
What's
work.
his name?
Walker Stewart.
Okay,
I think.
Nice. Yeah,
was impressed.
And then the main event, and it was fine. This was the main event. Sanada and Naito. You know what? Naito is super over in Japan. Like, don't underestimate. He is a very big star over there. However, Sanada looks like some young boy who just goes to the better tanning salon and better hair salon.
I thought he'd leveled up here. I did like the orange gear. I thought looked way better.
Yeah.
I don't like either wrestler. I find them both pretty dull. Naito has had some good matches. I'm not gonna deny that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't overly into this as a main event, but I will say the energy from this crowd kind of pulled me into it.
Sure.
And about 19 Destinos later, it was like, I thought it exceeded my expectations, but kind of want to move on from it.
Yeah, it exceeded my expectations, but Sanada just does not do anything for me. He's very boring. He looks so just cookie cutter of what some young boy wrestler looks like. And I just don't understand why again, out of someone who has gone from watching a lot of New Japan so much that I fucking traveled to go watch this, to someone who very rarely watches. And when I do, I go, how are you fucking this guy up? Oh, this guy should be your guy. This guy should be your guy. Instead, they're not. And Sanada and Evil and all these other fuckers are the ones they keep putting on these shows that I'm like head scratching a lot. So again, maybe going forward with the new year, they might have some changes to that, but it's New Japan.
I'd say it does look promising with their recently graduated young lions, like your Sujis and shooters and et cetera.
Yeah, but they gotta not do the formula, because the formula will be Naito's going to drop the title in a month to some young guy. Then they go, oh, you know what? He actually isn't ready. Let's go put it back on so-and-so. And they'll do that. They're going to do that. And you're going to go, not watching that.
You just got to have whoever you choose, have against your best, have against Shingo, have against Tanahashi, have against Okada, just prove themselves against. Don't have them working with Evil. Don't have, they will do that. That's not what you want to be doing.
But overall,
overall. I was pissed off because I heard the result before I saw it, and it was a match I already didn't really care about. Now I was like, man, now I'm going to sit through a 40-minute thing.
Yeah.
But it did exceed my expectations, definitely. And I actually quite enjoyed the Evil tease at the end, being like, nah, you're not getting the roll call.
Right.
I think it just made the crowd want that roll call even more when it happened. Which, which was a feel-good moment. But you know what? Overall, I wasn't excited about this show. And I pretty much enjoyed it overall. I thought it definitely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah. I always want to watch Wrestle Kingdom. It's so fun to watch and seeing like the huge crowd over there and everything. But the main match, Okada and Danielson, easily the match of the night, and we'll be talking about in a year from now, being like, oh, it's one of the best matches of the year because it was so awesome, and we'll be watching it again soon because I need to watch it back. But overall, a pretty good show, and I hope they can go off some momentum and do the right things. President Tanahashi, he's got to do the right things here. And Battle in the Valley, I mean, we got Ospreay leaving New Japan. They've announced their match. His match with Okada is the main event of Battle in the Valley. So I imagine this is the last time these two tangle for quite a while. So you know this one's going to be good. They've also had Matt Riddle show up in a video on New Year's Dash saying he wants to fight Tanahashi, which is very strange.
Didn't Tana say something like, I don't know who that
He's
guy
like,
is?
yeah, sure, but I don't know who you are. Yeah, very funny that Tanahashi would say that. That got a chuckle out of me. Also on the New Year's Dash was the mega team, the Fantastic Four of Okada, Danielson, Ishii, and Mox. Oh my God, what a unit this was. This was awesome, and they lost.
Imagine these four showing up to the pub, like just
with the eye patch. One of them's bleeding. This looked like us on Halloween a little bit. You just need the eye patch. Yeah, this was pretty great. I mean, the Mighty Don't Kneel technically won the match, but everyone was talking about like, wow, these guys teamed up. Like, pretty cool moment there. And
that's the fun kind of stuff you do at News Dash. What last year you had Kenny and
Okada
team,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So that's pretty cool. They've announced also for the Battle in the Valley, Shingo versus Moxley in a no DQ, which I'm like, yeah, that should have been on Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
like that should have just been one of the marquee matches. Gabe Kidd is taking on Eddie Kingston. I mentioned Matt Riddle is in.
Is that for the Continental Championship?
So call me crazy or like someone explain like I'm 5. But when the Continental Classic happened, the winner became the new Continental Champion, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Stop me when I'm going off the rails. So now Eddie is also still just defending the strong title.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so confusing because they've been calling it throughout the whole tournament. They were calling it a Triple Crown Championship, which implies unifying,
right?
You know, undisputed, unified, that kind of thing, Triple Crown. And then as soon as the tournament ended, they've been saying the Continental Champion Eddie Kingston, leading you to believe that they're kind of separated. They haven't addressed it. It's been very poor. I was, of the wrestling, I was a fan of the tournament by the end of it. I thought it was a good job. There's still big issues, and I don't think Eddie's clear what's going on with his titles. Yeah. He didn't seem clear at the beginning when he was like, I'm defending them every single match. Yeah, like, Eddie, you're not.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
And now it's like, okay, defending them separately. But then the fact that he's defending like the Continental Championship against Trent? I think that was that last night or something.
Yeah.
So he's defending that separately. It kind of, again, makes the tournament, what's the point in going through all these matches, a whole tournament to win a title, if then that title is just regularly defended in normal matches?
Yeah.
Whereas, again, like if it was for you do this tournament to headline the biggest show of the year, that gives you a reason to do it. But otherwise, I'd be like, why would I wrestle 7 to 8 matches if I could just win a battle royal and challenge you on
I don't understand.
I
don't understand that. It's like, wait, Brian Cage, 2 indie guys who aren't signed, and Trent. It's like you could have just been an indie guy and been put in this match.
I'll just do the 4-way the week after the pay-per-view.
I know fine. it's nitpicking, but that was bothering
You've
me.
You've got Brian with like a fucking broken arm, broken eye, broken everything, not winning the tournament, and then Brian Keith shows up and is like, yeah, I'll have a shot.
I'm not even signed here.
Like, yes.
Brian Cage, who loses everything. Yeah, I'll win. It didn't make sense. Kayfabe wise, I was like, that's kind of silly.
So I think you either do it as you are the like Continental Champion and you defend that, like you hold that right through to the next tournament, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just,
or you have
okay,
it for
so
something
weird.
else, or like next year are the strong title and fucking Ring of Honor title going to be on the line as well?
What's the proper name of this title?
It's
Gun to your head. What's the name of the title?
well, it's either the Continental Championship or the Triple Crown.
No, wait. What's the New Japan title he holds?
The New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that their main one, or do they have a New Japan Strong Championship?
You ask like I watch New Japan Strong. Is that even still a show? I think it ended.
I don't know.
Didn't it end?
They were rebranding.
I love wrestling, but nitpicking things, I'm like, wait, what? Brian Keith, who is awesome, by the way. He's fucking awesome, by the way. He should be signed. This guy, kayfabe wise, strolls in like, oh, wait, there was like 16 dudes who were fighting in a tournament, and all of a sudden I get a shot at this? Yeah, fuck them. Give me the match. It's like, wait, what? Why would he be given this? It just doesn't make sense.
It's so bizarre.
So, anyways, Gabriel Kidd is fighting Eddie for just the New Japan Strong Never Openweight title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Great.
Well, shall we move over to some AEW?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned some of the stuff. It is cool that they are kind of crossing over, letting some people go in and out with like Okada, Danielson, and things like that. And I imagine we get more of that in 2024, especially Forbidden Door and all that stuff later in the year. And I'm definitely genuinely excited, but I just like to circle back a little tiny bit to Matt Riddle being in New Japan, because I know he recently showed up on some other show and
MLW.
Really?
I think so.
Okay. So everyone's talking about Matt Stryker going off on commentary. Matt Stryker has now come out and said like, oh, I shouldn't have said those things, which like you kind of knew what you were saying. So I don't know.
What did he say?
I watched the clip earlier today, but I can't. He was basically like, "Why would anyone, fire this guy? He's great and this and that. And, he innocent till proven guilty, kind of, thing." Matt Stryker also referenced in the speaking out movement,
right?
So not a good look overall. But MLW, is that even a real show? So,
I mean, like in defense, your commentary should be bigging up your talent.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe just not
mentioning
that at all about being fired. But it's
very strange. So I mean, like Matt Riddle, obviously he's a great wrestler, but he's just been riddled with like all these bad things attached to him, whether it's allegations, whether he's alleging people are doing stuff to him in airports. Like there's just so much like going on that WWE was just like, no, we're going to clean our hands of that. And now he's showing up everywhere else. So I don't know. Again, like, did this guy, there is things on against this guy. It feels icky when you kind of watch wrestlers, but that's what wrestling is. I don't know. I'm not necessarily excited. I'm not interested in really Matt Riddle right now. And I know that like,
I think a lot feel the same. He will have his fans too. But yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, and I don't know if I'll watch the Battle in the Valley show. I have been very sparing with my New Japan in the last year or so. I'll check out Okada Ospreay for sure. There's stuff.
Oh, and the Shingo Mox,
yeah. There's stuff I'll check out, but whether I'll see Riddle Tanner, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, Riddle and someone versus Zack Sabre and Bad.
Oh, it's not even that match yet.
No.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get there eventually. I guess. Yeah,
cool.
I don't know. So yeah, AEW also this week had a bunch of shows kicking off 2024. They had World's End a week ago, which seems like
a
year ago.
I mean,
literally,
kind of
a year ago. But then they had Dynamite and Collision. That was last night. But Dynamite, I thought Dynamite was pretty good.
I really enjoyed Dynamite this week. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Darby Allin taking on Konosuke Takeshita.
Man, like that's an early contender for match of the year. Wow,
man, they were killing each other. I mean, he was killing Darby as per usual, but Darby was firing back. There was some crazy stuff in that match.
Like this is the Takeshita we need more of. This is the Takeshita that we should have seen immediately after his association with Callis and beating Kenny Omega. Like he's a big guy, and for like the whole first part of his run when he was a babyface, he was the plucky underdog, wasn't he?
Yeah, who's kind
going
of
up against your main characters. Here, like this looked like someone you can have as a a main event heel.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't need to talk. He's got Callis for him, who gets tremendous heat. The focus should be on Takeshita, though. I think that has been a bit of a problem with the
absolutely.
Don Callis family. And I'm hoping, like we were saying, kind of end of World's End, it's like, yeah, like wasn't the best, but it's going to be like a fresh chapter in the new year. And I definitely got that feeling with this Dynamite. So I'm hoping there's a bit of focus now on Takeshita, because, man, that match was awesome. And just Darby, like, this was like a death match without being an ODQ match.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Just the stuff he was doing to the...
Yeah, it reminded me, it didn't get to that level, but we did a show with Damian Abraham years ago, best death match ever. And he selected Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher, which isn't a death match, but at the same time, they get close to death in the match.
100%.
So it reminded me of that, where this guy's just murdering this dude. It's the flying knee that was like, oh my God, like in midair outside the tope or whatever. Just incredible. I actually like watched it. And then later on, I was like going to sleep after Wrestle Kingdom. I'm like, I just need to see clips of that match again. And I was watching parts of it back.
Like, I don't, you yell out a lot when you're,
when you're watching very
wrestling.
audible.
I don't do it as much. I think more, it's kind of like, you know, when you're watching something and you laugh on your own, it's more like a social thing.
Yeah.
Like it takes something really funny for me to laugh on my own. But if I'm in a crowd, I'll laugh a bit more. This, I was just sat here on my own, just going, holy fuck. Like, it was tremendous.
Yeah, it's true. So next week, they've announced Sting and Darby taking on Takeshita and Hobbs. Let's fucking go. Takeshita pins Sting, causing his first and only loss in AEW. Do it.
It's a strange match to book.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't have Sting lose now until his Revolution match. So
yeah,
it's a weird match to book when you're really. I feel Hobbs is maybe collateral damage there.
Yeah.
Or do you do like a big no contest kind of double DQ brawl thing? Like I
don't know.
It seems it's still a long way to set up for a Revolution match. So I don't know. It feels a bit backed in the corner. Yeah. But I'll see what they do.
I mean, I'm excited to see. I just think they shouldn't fumble Takeshita. I think going forward, like properly use him. He should have been in that Continental Classic. Maybe they didn't put him in because they wanted Eddie to win it and they didn't want him to lose. But like, guy's been losing also. But I mean, he won his match against Darby, and he should continue to be booked as one of the like main villains of AEW. I think they can correct it.
I mean, what if for like a little program for now to tide him over, you have Hobbs lose and Takeshita kicks him out the group? And you have like a little mini feud between those two for now. The two big lads.
Possibly. Yeah. I just want Takeshita to be booked properly. But that part of AEW was easily my favorite from the show. I'm trying to think of what else.
I enjoyed Swerve versus Daniel Garcia.
Oh, yeah.
As well. That was pretty good.
I mean, those two are two of the best up and coming guys. Yeah. I mean, Swerve should be champion by the end of this year in some way, shape, or form.
I think he will.
Yeah. But Daniel Garcia is one. They fumbled him last year, and I think they're again same thing. They're going to correct course for him as
absolutely. And then you kind of set up. You know, Hangman Page is just on a rampage after being taken out by the Devil and his goons. So him just wanting a fight, confronting Swerve at the end. It seems like we're gonna finish the trilogy, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell.
I kind of wonder if because it was Joe who like paid the Devil in a way to take out Page. I wonder if you get the title on Page. You have Page beat Joe, and then it's Swerve who beats Page for the title.
Okay.
Because I don't see this Samoa Joe title reign being long. And I think now you've set up a reason for Hangman to face Joe.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a little like hot potatoing you could do to get the title on Swerve.
Yeah, because an easy thing would to be is Revolution is a triple threat. But I mean, that's a long way from now. I don't know how long we'd wait to get some of these matches. But I don't know if I'd necessarily like that as much. I'd like to see Swerve versus Hangman again, but like they've already straight up murdered each other. Like what would you do?
Unless it's for the title, what else do you do? Whether it's, have an attempt at the exploding barbed wire death match again and be like, right, this time we're going to fucking nail it. Or do you introduce like an equivalent of a Hell in a Cell or something like that, which we haven't seen. We've seen the cage match, but do we see them attempt something along those lines? Because you're right, we've had the Texas.
The guy drank his blood.
Exactly.
So like, what the hell
Where
else
do you
can
go
you do
from there?
Yeah.
But it's clear these two are gonna meet again.
Yeah.
But just to sign off the first episode of the new year with those two in the ring, I'm like, these should be your main characters.
Yeah.
Hangman should be the protagonist of AEW, and Swerve should be the supervillain.
And Joe right now, he's the champ, but I do see him dropping it to either of these guys.
Yeah. It'll be a couple of months reign.
Yeah.
We had also Mariah May's debut against Queen Amidala.
I thought it was
Padme.
Queen Amidala. I did a double take, like, sorry, what's her name? And then it was not Padme, no. But that was fine. I've seen some of Mariah May's stuff before AEW, and I've liked it. So I think she's got a look. She can wrestle. She's got a little bit of an attitude as well already. So instantly is inserted in a higher part of this roster.
It was, again, something promising this week where the women's division seemed to have a bit of focus and a bit of like life injected into it. I thought Queen Aminata really, I do not watch Dark or did not watch Dark, so haven't seen her before. I thought she really showed up. I thought she was great. I think Mariah May kind of has everything. She's solid in the ring. She's got a great look. She's like very confident on the mic. Already got a story in place with Tony Storm and everything going forwards. So yeah, I was impressed. And then the debut of Deonna Purrazzo.
Yes, I know you're a big fan of Deonna from Impact
Deonna.
and stuff. I'd say she was definitely hit and miss from times I've watched her in Mae Young Classic, and then she went to Impact after like that. I'd say some things that I did watch, I'd say during the pandemic and stuff, like there'd be sometimes I'd watch her and she was good, and then there'd be sometimes I watch her where I really did not like her. So I thought she had a good debut. I thought she sounded good, actually. Can't really remember her cutting promos as good as kind of the way she sounded. It easily helped with the Jersey crowd.
Yeah.
So I'd say it was a thumbs up for a debut.
It's interesting. Obviously it's in Jersey. She's going to get cheered. It was the right move because I think we have seen her in AEW before. She's main evented a Dynamite before against Mercedes Martinez.
That's right. Yeah.
And there wasn't much fanfare around her. I think it was absolutely the right place to debut her, to make her feel big, because I think elsewhere she might have felt like, who? I wanted Sasha Banks, you know, that kind of thing. So I thought it was a good thing. She is, in my opinion, better as a heel in promos and stuff. The virtuosa, like the, like better than you kind of character she kind of does. But I think she's solid in ring. Like her matches against Jordan Grace were always very good. Can be a bit of hit and miss with others, but definitely will be one of the sort of top performers in the division. And you think hopefully soon we can get Jamie Hayter back and Britt Baker back, and maybe a debuting Mercedes Moné. So I think there was kind of promise with the women's division after tonight's show. This week's show.
Yeah. After watching this week's, I'm like, okay, maybe the women's division is something they're going to focus on. Mercedes would be a huge addition to that. She would be the star, make her the champion really quick. And then the kind of end game of your division would be going Jamie versus Mercedes, which Mercedes made it clear she wants to face Jamie, and kind of vice versa. That would be the big, all-in match almost, if you will. But I hope Jamie comes back. I think she was the real glue to that division. I think back to her winning the title, and then obviously her injury and disappearing off like the show was a big hit in something I didn't really realize. I'm like, oh man, this women's division kind of like floundering, kind of not my interest level is just dropped. And then I kind of go, oh wait a second. I loved where we were with it. I'm loving Tony Storm. Don't get me wrong, but everything else is just falls to the side. So maybe this year they do focus on that, having Mariah May, having Virtuosa, having hopefully Mercedes, Jamie back. It could prop back up.
Yeah.
I hope it does, but we'll see.
And I guess the last thing to talk about is the Undisputed Kingdom's first promo.
Yeah. Okay. Like the pluses is Adam Cole, even on crutches, he can still talk.
Yeah.
So he cuts good promos. That's no one can ever say he's great. He's so good on the mic, and it made sense in a way. But then you're putting lipstick on Matt Taven. It's still Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. It's still the Kingdom, and I'm just not really sold on these being behind these guys. And we were talking about kayfabe wise things. Kayfabe wise, Adam Cole sounds like a complete dork when he's like, and they became Ring of Honor tag team champions, and Wardlow's gonna become champion, and it's just like, it's a little unfortunate because I think back then in hindsight they had it all mapped out with Adam Cole not being injured. I think it would have worked a whole lot better. It would have, the stories going into it, I think they had the injury and they decided to change certain things. And I think when they did that, it made it suck. And I think they retconned it okay with him cutting the promo. Again, I think he sounded good. It's just like, it's still the fucking Kingdom. So I'm like, ah.
But there is, as like, it does make sense for them to be with him because there is the history.
Of course,
with them.
sure. They should explain that a bit, maybe, but
I don't know if you
we know that.
I've seen a lot of hate for this promo. I think people wanted like every single element of it explained. For me, I don't really think I need that. Like, Cole knows MJF is someone who would turn on him eventually.
Yeah.
He broke his ankle trying to protect him and is pissed off. And therefore I'm going to strike you before you strike me. I think that makes complete sense. The people he's got in his group makes complete sense. It's his best friend, Roderick Strong, who I so fucking hoped dropped the Adam thing now in this. Because I kind of saw it as, all those goofy vignettes at the house together was like a swerve.
They have said that. Yeah, they said that last night.
Right.
The Kingdom have now said the draft shit, all that stuff was like
just
facade.
throw you off.
And
meanwhile, we're plotting about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I understood that, but therefore Roddy should drop the stupid shit,
right,
and just be serious.
But he's made the most fucking money and gotten the most famous from it.
I didn't feel it worked in this promo.
Yeah,
like maybe every now and then, but so it makes sense. It makes sense with Wardlow, who's got a beef, and with MJF and Adam Cole needing the muscle.
I just love from like day one of this storyline. Now they're going, oh, I'm going to take the
I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's already.
Although Wardlow's reaction was like, sure, okay.
Was it? He looked over at him like.
But know that's something they're going to go to, which I again don't like. It's still the thing that baffles me is how this whole thing started with Jay White being taken out. How does that make any sense to the story?
Adam Cole was like, look, if I can't be champion, it sure as hell ain't going to be Jay White. So I'll take him out.
But you look back at other steps, like Adam Cole trying to insert himself into the match, like, because you could have thought like he inserts himself. His plan is Kingdom and Wardlow take out Jay White and he wins.
Right.
In the Jay White MJF match.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. There's steps along the way that make sense. The one thing for me is, why the fuck did he take out Jay White? That made no
Jay
sense.
White's mad about it, clearly.
Yeah.
They came out after, which was
so mad he's a babyface now.
Yeah. I'd say like they did the best they could with it, because think about it. If you did go, hey, it's Jack Perry, people would be even more pissed off. Like, it makes sense that it's Adam Cole. It was supposed to be Adam Cole from the very get-go. The mask in the locker room at All In going missing because he was the one who took it, right? Like, that's the main thing. It's just he got injured and it fucked everything up. Because it was supposed to be him winning the title from MJF. Easily, they were going to be like, let's rematch.
Well, that's something Frank says in the chat. Yeah, but the plan, what a waste of time. It's not even like any of them won the AEW title. If anything, you've made it more difficult because now Samoa Joe is the champion.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Whereas the champion before was a guy with a torn rotator cuff, like a gammy knee, like just held together by fucking bubblegum.
It would have made more sense if it was Adam. I mean,
I'm now they've given an unstoppable monster the title.
It doesn't make sense because again, it's like, and we're the Ring of Honor tag champions. It's like, cool. No one gives a fuck about them. I'm sorry. However, it's like if it was Adam Cole being like, hey, face, because he was like face Joe, right? Joe helps you. Joe this, Joe this, Joe this. If it was in the end, Joe is in the group. That was the plan. Then yeah, cool. If it was, hey, MJF, Max, you should face Wardlow. Give him a shot. Okay, gives him a shot. He beats MJF because he's injured, and then it goes, we tricked you. You shouldn't have taken that match. That makes sense. But they obviously didn't want to give Wardlow the title. You know what I mean? Like, there's different.
I guess it's mainly just he wanted to like just
wanted
break
to fuck you
MJF's
over.
heart.
Yeah, I want to
he
hurt
doesn't
you.
care.
Yeah.
Like, the title is something I'll figure out once I'm healthy. Maybe. I wasn't as down on it as other people are. There are some holes in it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, again, it's like, okay, we've got it out the way. Now this is your stable. We don't need to think about the past maybe and just focus on where you are going from here. Where do you go from here? Okay, Roddy's going for Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, so we're getting the Undisputed Prophecy Part 2.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Roddy Orange, that sounds interesting to me.
Don't get me wrong. Like, the Kingdom, they're fine workers. I just, like, they've been put through the ringer of not only AEW, but, like, Ring of Honor before we got here. If you were watching Ring of Honor before it was ever owned by AEW, like, they've been the same guys for a long time, and it's just, like, they're very uninteresting. And now you've given them a fresh coat, and I still don't care.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as negative on it, and I think going forward we could get some good things, but I'm done with the Ring of Honor shit as well. So being Ring of Honor champions, this and that, it's like, again, Adam Cole sounds stupid when he's like, and Samoa Joe got the world title, but we got the Ring of Honor tag titles. It's like, yeah, you sound dumb because you just helped this other guy. Like, yeah, it's a little backwards, but they did the best they could.
Yeah, I assume Cole's going to be on TV pretty much.
He has to be their mouthpiece. I mean, Wardlow needs a mouthpiece. Kingdom need a mouthpiece. Roddy needs the mouthpiece. He's going to be there every week for them. It's just like, when are you coming back? Because it definitely sucks that this AEW would be fine if Adam Cole never got injured, but he did. So they had to, change course. And Samoa Joe is AEW world champion, which is pretty cool. It's just like, where do we go forward? And there's a few months till the Revolution. I wonder if we do have title matches on TV that maybe the title flip-flops around, like you said, to just go away from the Undisputed Kingdom. But then, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy the Devil stuff is over. Because, like,
yeah. What do you think of the new music?
Yeah, they needed that too. Because, like, he's a baby
needed
face.
to, yeah.
Did they just slow it down? I only listened to it once.
They started with the boom, and then I think it was just some instrumental. I just watched it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I need to listen to it back, but I could be wrong. I think they slowed down like the.
Oh, they did the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Over there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure they did something like that. Other things from Dynamite, I'm trying to think.
Orange Dante was fine.
Oh, Private Party.
Private Party.
Yo, fuck the AEW season oneers. I love Private Party. Fuck all the haters. I actually loved that. I was like, good for this guy. He feels like he's been injured for quite a while. And like, all the disrespect to the Hardys is Isaiah being like, and we're here to put the tag team. I didn't understand how they came out during a match where, like, there was like a tag team there and a trios team there, but like they could have came out when there was a tag team match.
Sure.
But yeah, I love those guys.
I actually watched Rampage this week because I wasn't working and I was at home. And they,
who are you?
I know. Like, finished SmackDown. I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch.
What was on it?
Tell me. Wheeler Yuta versus Commander.
Right, yeah, just okay, all right.
Yeah, which was all right. But yeah, they had a promo segment backstage with the Hardys where the Hardys were like, hey, what's going on? And then kind of the Hardys sort of young boyed them a little bit and kind of said, here's our shirts we wore for our match. Like that. So that's something they're going towards. But yeah, I'm kind of happy to see them back.
Yeah, these guys were very promising when AEW started. Like, I had my attention on these two. I'm like, whoa, they're two like guys. Their gimmick is party, and they did some pretty impressive moves. And Quinn's been like, he's been hit with those injuries, but I'm excited. I actually was like, hey, give these guys a chance, and I'm excited. I don't know if you go babyface or heel with them, but because in a way
they're kind of twee.
Because right now they're
tweeners to me.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm in the minority, but I was excited that they're back because the tag team division is lacking in AEW right now. Yeah. So they were right on the money with that promo.
Again, just felt like a fresh start this week. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well, shall we wrap that up there?
Yeah, I mean, this week on Dynamite is their homecoming. We mentioned Sting and Darby versus Takeshita and Hobbs.
Claudio Hangman.
Yeah, Claudio Hangman. That's exactly
awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. I'm very looking forward to Dynamite this week, so we'll be catching that, and we'll definitely be talking about it next week.
All right. Well, we're going to be back in about 5 minutes with Best Match Ever 2023. So don't go anywhere. Have a quick loo break. Grab yourself something to eat or drink or whatever, and we'll see you at 4:15 Eastern time.
Hell yeah.
Toodle pip. 2023, another fantastic and fascinating year in the world of pro wrestling. After over 40 years as owner, Vince McMahon finally sold the WWE.
This is the biggest thing R.E. Emanuel and Vince McMahon have ever done.
AEW broke records by hosting All In a jam-packed Wembley Stadium.
London, England! 81,035 fans!
And CM Punk once again continued to dominate the headlines.
Today I terminated Phil Brooks, CM Punk, for cause.
But on top of all that, the world was treated to a whole load of wrestling classics.
Sammy Swiggle! Haluva kick! And another! Stunner! Threes! The one! Cover! The bloodline being damned!
We saw a Ring General dominate and become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time.